And then what are your plans for expanding the product line? I saw on the website there's a little teaser you guys are working on a
Yeah,
gravel rail,
yeah,
it looks like.
yeah. So there's a couple of things we're doing. I've got a great engineer, Kyle, Dave Cosell. He's pretty well known in the business. He's a bright guy, and he is he's helping us set up first the looking at a mountain bike handlebar, and we're also looking at a stem. Those two things are the next. Stem is first. The mountain bike handlebar will be next. A little more involved with molds and stuff like that to get that right. We're still kind of dealing with the shape of what we want the mountain bike to look like. Um, so those are the two right off the top. But there is one thing that's coming out that I don't know if. And you were talking about wind tunnel tests. We just finished the wind tunnel tests for this wheel that I invented. It's also another one of those things that if I gave you the numbers, you'd say, really? And I go, yeah, really. Uh, so I have a fellow who's a airline pilot. So one of the things that comes into all this stuff is aeronautics, right? Well, I happen to be a pilot too, and I enjoy flying, and I know tried, I've been checked out in like 27 different aircraft along my life, and I kind of have a sense of all this stuff. And so the wheel uh, came out into my head about 5 years ago when I saw in the old day where they had the fin on the wheel, and it was supposed to be aerodynamic and cut like a whale's flipper and all this stuff. And I saw a guy on the road one day, and I was laughing because the fin in the front was going one way and the fin in the back was going the other way. So it was negating any kind of, if there was a possible advantage, it was
Right.
just didn't make sense. And I'll tell you what, I laughed enough that I went to bed that next night and I woke up and I was like, how do I incorporate a wing, a real wing? And so I came up with this idea and design, and uh, and that's what we're going to be releasing here in another week or two. So thanks for asking for that. Um, yeah, we did the wind tunnel test on that. It's right up there with all the best wheels, the highest end wheels. The one thing that is always a caveat is that in the wind tunnel, it doesn't always prove out what real world effects are. And what I have learned and found was that with this wheel and the people that have had testing it, so for instance, so Kyle, he's one of our testers. He's here in the U.S. He's a previous military guy. He used to fly F-18s, really knowledgeable of aerodynamics. So he was intrigued, of course. He's like, wow, that's interesting. So he's done a couple of testing for me, and what he found was that uh, at 20 miles an hour on his closed circuit that he used to do, uh, it would take him 230 watts to do 20 miles an hour, 43 kph. With my wheel, it was 200 watts. So he
Wow.
saved 30 watts.
That's a huge savings.
It's absolutely monstrous.
I
And
need to
on
try those
top,
wheels, Don.
I know they're coming, they're coming. And the other thing about it is it's not a deep dish. It's 31 millimeters. So crosswinds really up to 7.5 degrees crosswind, you're not going to get caught. The way the wheel is designed is like a frisbee, an Orby. When you throw it, it keeps going forever, right? And it's all the secret is in this little lip that what it does is it constrains the lift of the wing into the wheel, and then that lift is directed right to the hub. And because of that, it becomes like an air disc. And so you get the efficiencies of it being a disc. In fact, when you look at this CFD work, like we did some computational fluid dynamics on the wheel, the the negative force on the back end of the wheel is gone because of this wall of air that literally blocks off the spokes turbulence that carries through the wheel. It literally makes that disappear because it's a force of air going up to the hub. And when we did it, you could see that on the normal wheel, there's a huge turbulence behind the wheel. With these wheels, it comes right down, and it's like if you ever see uh, how the golf ball flies, it's the same idea. It captures the air and it makes the resistance behind the golf ball disappear. And that's exactly what this does. And so
It's
that's
awesome.
going to, yeah, so we're going to put that on the market here next week or two. That's taken 5 years to put together, and a lot of money and a lot of iterations also. And we're doing DT hubs, the 240. We've kind of gone through some changes with that too. We're using carbon fiber spokes, and now we're doing the stainless steel. Uh, the
Interesting.
internal nipples. You can tune the wheel, but the tuning is up at the hub, not in the nipple, unless you before you set it all up, you tune the wheel. And these are the Sapien CRX flat stainless steel, and the wheel weighs about 1,300 grams itself, plus or minus 50-ish. And then we're coming out with a different hub that's going to be a little bit lighter too. So we'll be in that 1,300 range. So the wheel is going to be universal. It's going to have the 25 millimeter internal, about 28 external, the curvature of it. And the seam is, if you ride a 25 or 28, that dead spot between the tire and the rim is negated. So it's very smooth flowing there. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
Last
that's,
question for you is I know you're a perfusionist outside of work, for those who don't know. You said it took you about 4 to 5 years to develop just the first handlebar. Like, what is it that, I mean, that's a long time, especially when you have a full-time job. Like, what is it that keeps you going, like motivated you to see this product through to launch?
oh, that's a nice question to ask, because underneath all this is the idea that naturally for me, it's like I want to help people. That's the underlying issue. And just the kind heart and kindness about taking care of people's pain. and
Yeah.
so and so, I've been gifted in a sense. I've had this opportunity, um, both medically and uh, physics wise, all the things that I've learned over my life, all the pains, and get down, fall up, get up, fall down, get up. It's just I'm just living the life. Just kind of creating as life comes to me, and stick to it. And yeah, I love it. I love the fact that I've got this kind of a life too. It's purposeful. A lot of people are going
Absolutely.
through life without a purpose, and I I have my days when I just want to zone out and turn off. But then there are other things that just keep motivating me. And I mean, I've got stuff going on all the time in the background besides this, with the bike and the work and flying and relationships and all this other stuff. So uh, I don't know. I'm definitely not missing any brain cells yet. So they're all connecting.
Definitely staying active. Well, Don, thanks so much for your time. I'm going to put on the screen all the information for Coefficient's Instagram website, as well as in the description. So if you guys want to check it out,